Hello there. Since I made the last video on the pannage season and pigs in the New Forest, I thought I'd better try and explain the common rights in the New Forest. It's quite a complicated subject, but I'll try to do it briefly and as simply as possible. Now this map shows you the lands that around the New Forest that have common rights of pasture. That's the right to turn out ponies, cattle and donkeys. The common rights are attached to private land which is around the New Forest or within the New Forest, which is not the common. There are over 50,000 acres of common in the New Forest. That includes the heathlands, the valley mires, that's the bogs, and the pasture woodlands of the New Forest. Anywhere the ponies can go is common land. The commercial plantations are not part of the common land. The common rights of pasture is the most important right, but there are some other rights as well. There is the right of mast, and that's the right to turn out pigs in the autumn in what's called the pannage season. There are sheep rights, and there are rights to fuel wood. There are two other rights that are not practiced anymore. That's turbary and marl. The fuel wood right is called the right of Eastover. Turbary was the right to dig turf for burning in the hearth. Marl was the right to dig a calcium-rich clay which is found in the southern part of the New Forest. It was used to enrich the soil. The result of the diggings has left the forest with some very nice little ponds. These common rights have existed in the New Forest for well over 1,000 years. The New Forest was one of the many royal forests that were scattered all over England. These areas were under the control of the Crown and were used as areas for hunting. It is believed that the Crown allowed the local peoples to turn out their animals at certain times of the year when it didn't affect the deer. This was in return for not being allowed to put up fences or enclose parts of the common land. However, it wasn't until 1858 that these rights were actually written down and recorded. These rights have all been put onto 25-inch Ordnance Survey maps. In fact, there's 285 of them, and they make up 7 large leather-backed volumes called atlases. Today they've been digitized, so it's much easier to look up your right. These atlases are still, one set is in the Verdra's office in Lyndhurst and the other is in the Hampshire Records office at Winchester. At the time of these rights being recorded, the Crown had changed its interest in the forest from one of hunting to commercial interests of growing timber and probably getting rid of the common rights. Today we would probably call it privatisation. Now this is a mock-up of how the common rights would be interpreted on the atlas. The maps in the atlas are based on the old tithe map, and there's unfortunately it doesn't relate to the parishes of today. However, the main thing is to notice on each parcel of land there's the parcel number done as a fraction, and beneath the fraction, under the line, there are letters which denote the particular right that that parcel of land has. Here, for example, the parcel number is 13, and underneath is PMO, and that stands for P for pasture, M for mast, and O for mile. Now, I've tried to explain the basics of common rights in just over 5 minutes. There's an awful lot more to know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. If you do, click a like. Thank you very much. Goodbye.